people always think of Theodore Roosevelt with his stuffed animals and things. Few people realize that he was second only to Thomas Jefferson in his care and knowledge about the White House. In fact, he designed the one thing which is missing here, but which will soon be given to us, a superb mantle. McKim, Mead, and White had designed one with lion's heads, and Theodore Roosevelt said, no, the lion's not an American animal. So he designed it with buffalo heads of white marble, and McKim, Mead, and White now is copying that for us. So you'll soon see it here to replace this just simple molding that was put in 1948.
And Mrs. Kennedy, on that fireplace, just under the mantel, there's an inscription which I found one of the most moving things in the White House.
Yes, that's from the very first letter that was ever written from the White House. It was written by John Adams, the first president to live here, to his wife Abigail, when he'd only been here 2 days, in November 2nd, 1800. And in it says, I pray heaven to bestow the best of blessings on this house, and on all that shall hereafter inhabit it. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof. It was Franklin Roosevelt who loved that prayer and had it put on the mantelpiece.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Longworth, I want to welcome you all to on this occasion when I think one of the most notable improvements in the White House is being made through the generosity of some of those who are descended from the firm which originally built this marble piece, and also the marble industry of the state of New York, who've also participated in this very generous gift to the White House. It's very appropriate, I think, that we have Mrs. Longworth here, who was, though she is somewhat reluctant to admit it, was present during the 1902 renovation as a very small girl, and who shared her father's great interest in restoring the White House to, in the phrase he used, its original simplicity, and in maintaining its original purpose. Theodore Roosevelt and Thomas Jefferson were both men of extraordinary versatility and combined a great many talents. In fact, I would suppose that they covered a wider range than any of the presidents of our history, and with the exception of a few extraordinary Americans such as Benjamin Franklin, more than any other Americans of our history. And it is interesting that Theodore Roosevelt, whose vitality, whose vigor were such pronounced qualities and such obvious qualities in his administration, was also, with Thomas Jefferson, the President of the United States, most concerned with restoring the White House, with the architecture of the White House, with maintaining the spirit of the White House. This distinguished mantle, which bears the prayer, is a work with which he had a good deal to do with. And most particularly, of course, and most noticeable, are the two buffalo heads, which were originally lions, but which he felt should be bison, because they were, of course, a distinguished product of our soils. The original mantle was yellowed and tarnished by age, and therefore, when the White House was restored, a plain mantle was put here. I think this is much more beautiful, much more appropriate. It reminds us of a distinguished president and also contributes materially to the restoration of the White House to its original spirit. So I want to express my thanks to the successors of the firm of McKim, Mead, and White, who participated and in this originally, which is now Steinman, Kane, and White, and also the Marble Industry Board of New York for their participation, and also the men who carve marble, which is not very easy. I wonder if they're here. We'd like to have them step forward, because that's an extraordinarily creative piece of work. Why don't you come over a little more and stand over here? You both did it. This is, what's your name?
Alex Salvioli.
Salvioli, Mr. Longworth.
How do you do?
Your name? What's your name? Mr. Ratty, Mr. Salvioli. Somebody told me that you're about the only two men around who can do this work, so we want to take good care of you.